All right, so now what we're gonna concentrate on when you shoot your jab, I want a movement. I want you to move into the position. So when you're here, there you go, shift into it. I'm coming at you, here you go. Now, don't over-rotate.
Okay.
Don't over-rotate. So if I'm coming in here, see how you're rotating your back foot out?
Okay.
Push off the back foot. So if I'm coming here, and I'm coming over this way, you push off there you can see how that keeps you lined up so that you don't rotate out. The reason why I want you to understand not to rotate out is that if I'm coming here and you're rotating, it allows me this to cut you off. If I'm here, if I come here and you step down correctly, even when I come here, it's so much easier to find me and you can adjust. The minute you bring that foot around this way, you force yourself to have to go around this way. To change direction is a lot harder. So you don't want to make changing direction any more difficult than it has to be. So when you're here, and I come around this way, you push off the back foot, not the front foot. There you go, right there. Now when you step into, now by holding that position, maintaining that, when you step into the 1-2, it's easy because that foot is planted already. That's the foot that you're kicking and moving on. So it's already planted.
Right.
When you turn and rotate, you're pushing off of this foot, you'll find yourself leaning on it more.
Yeah.
So then when you go for the 1-2, you have your weight on the front foot, it doesn't work as well.
Gotcha.
You can't get into your offense, can't get into your combinations. So you're here, there you go. See how balanced you are there, so when you hit the 1-2, you push off that back foot and shift over. Now, if you're looking at your opponent and he moves on you, there you go. Keep this on your opponent, rifle here. There you go. 1-2. Good, good, good. Get that jab all the way out, all the way out. There you go. Nice. Step into the gap right here. Don't worry, don't worry. There you go. So now, there you did, right there, in the gap. There it is. Because what you're going to find is that opening. When you're here, take that half step, shift, boom. The opening is right here on your opponent. It's going to be there all day. As long as you're moving behind that jab. There you go. 1-2. Good, good. Now, you see how you run in that circle? Here? As opposed to running that circle, cut past my hand. Just push off, boom, just like that. It's much more difficult for your opponent to find you. So if I'm coming in here and I cut around this way, there you go. Push him off you. Cut that angle and go to work. Or you can do what you were doing, go around in that circle, and we both stay on this merry-go-round.
Yeah, no.
You got me?
Right.
Good, there you go. See how you cut that short as opposed to going out and around? You see the openings, you can see the target better. So when you're here, I come rushing in here. There it is, right there. And you can use it. Most people go all the way out this way. Yes. And they hinder themselves. Good, good. Now, come. There you go, there you go. Nice, nice. Cut. Move your feet. Good. 1-2. Good. I like that.
Get that right hand down, buddy. I know where it is. I know where it is. I had trouble on it.
So now if we come in here, we're gonna go with let's go with the 1-3. When you shoot the 1, you're gonna shift, small step. And there's your 3. Boom, come right back out. Okay? Run the 1-3. Let's go, go. Good, good. Again. Now, bring the elbow up. Bring the elbow up behind that. So that you bring it through, and it brings you back down. When you swing it with that elbow down, you have to engage the shoulder too much. The shoulder comes before the hook, like that. There you go. When you bring the elbow, you're pulling that elbow through, as opposed to letting the shoulder come first. So 1, 1, 3. That's better, but I like your foot was out of place. Yeah, the movement on the hand was better. Okay.
Don't normally throw them like this, but I think that helped. Palm down instead of palm.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go. There you go. So what you're looking at when you're wanting to shoot that 1-3, what you're looking at is this guy. Shoot your jab.
Oh, shoot.
There you go. Yeah, when you're shooting your jab and this guy's here, that's when you hit that 1-3. The guy that sits in here, boom, come right over the top of that. Okay. If he doesn't have enough discipline to realize he doesn't want to leave his hands out here for blocking, you know, then you make him pay for that. You just step over. So it's a quick step. When you shoot that jab here, to push off the back foot, shift. Whoop, there you go.
Should I throw it as I'm stepping?
Nah, shift. Put your feet down. You don't want to be in the air. There it is. It's just like that. So you push and make that step so small. It's a half step. So it's so quick. It should be quick. So when you come in, you shoot the jab, and you shift, boom, and there it is. Because the movement will make him pause.
Right.
He has to ask, where is he?
Come with the movement.
Where is he? You know, where is he? And he'll go. And he'll have to look for you. By that time, you're already delivering the shot. All right? So that's how we're going to set that 1-3. Go, 1-3. There you go. Come back with it. Come back with it. 1-3. Ah, you're rushing it.
Yep.
Let your feet move first. This is what I was saying earlier. If you let your hands move faster than your feet, everything falls out of order. Let your feet move first. Let's go. Now, take that half step down. Because that we're looking at the mitts, and from here I'm gonna turn it over and you're gonna hit that. All right? But when you're looking at positioning on your opponent, if you were shooting that jab here and you don't make that step, then the hook is way out here.
Right.
But if you shoot the jab here, you land the jab, and then you push past, there you go, there's your hook. So you're positioning that. What will happen is if you don't move down, you'll turn that hook over out here because you're still looking at the target.
Reach for it.
Right, you'll reach for it. And you don't have to reach for it if you just take the time to step down. Ready? 1-3. That's better. There you go. Come
I
on.
really want to get that body hook in. I don't know how to get it though. Look at that.
Well, if you realize what we were saying before, how you want your movement to provoke movement.
Right.
When my opponent advances on me, I should be moving as opposed to how do I block this?
Staying there and taking it.
Right. So if I'm in here and you want to run that combination and you move, I should be moving. Makes it a little harder for you to find it, right?
Yeah.
If you want to run that combination, and my response is run the combination, and I'm trying to catch it, you can pick the openings and land them. But I'm going to move the entire target.
Right.
Make it, you know what I'm saying? As opposed to hoping you don't find what's open. That's basically what you're doing here. When you throw punches and I stand in here, I'm hoping you don't find a punch that lands. I'm giving you way too much.
Right.
As an opponent, I'm conceding way too much to you. And then I got to ask, whose side am I on at that point? You feel me? But if I don't want to get hit, if I don't want you scoring, the minute you move, I need to be moving. It makes it harder for you to find the gaps that you're looking for, you know? There you go. Nice, nice. Now, shorten the steps, coming to the right. Right. What you're doing, naturally, what we do is as you're coming around this way, that's what you want to do. Push off the front foot. We naturally want to push off like we're on a scooter and come around this way. So by holding this rifle, holding that rifle on your opponent, push off the front, boom, and see how that stays lined up. You got me?
Yeah.
Now, when you were talking about catching that hook to the body, that's exactly how. Right. You're moving this foot first. You're pushing off of this foot. So when you push off of this, your hips are coming through. So when you're pushing off from here, your hips are pulling through. So it allows you to sit down into that hook. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you're doing that, your hips are coming through. You can change the alignment off the rotation of them. All right? So it depends on where your opponent is as to how much you're rotating and where you're placing this other foot when it comes down.
Yeah.
That's it. You're actually customizing that shot depending on your opponent and the positioning. Mm-hmm. You know, there is no always do this.
Right.
You're holding on to certain objectives, and then it lines up on everything on what you're trying to accomplish.
Right.
If he moves back or if he moves or whatever, you know whether it's there or not because you're adjusting it to the situation as opposed to having a ready-made combination and you just push the initiate button and it just goes through this process. You know, if everything isn't lined up or remains lined up, then, you know what I'm saying, the probability of it working goes down every time. So when you're actually making the adjustment according to the spacing and the positioning of the opponent in front of you right then, now you might have a much higher success rate. There you go. There you go. Now hold on to that. Hold on to that. Hold on to that. There you go. See how that works? And you can look at your opponent and you can come and get him from here. Everything stays the same. I can make the adjustments depending on where you are, you know? But the minute I just run through this combination and you move, I got to finish what I started because I've lost control of what I'm doing. I've lost the balance, you know? By taking the small steps and remaining balanced, you adjust to what's in front of you. There you go. And that's all day, and it's not necessarily generating that circular motion.
Right.
You can get off of that. The brain is telling us to do it. That's how we generate power, circular motion.
Right.
But we can deviate. Yeah, we do all of that. We can deviate from that. There we go. 1, 3. Don't worry. Give me another one. 1, 3. Don't hesitate so much. And also, when you throw that, when you shift in for that hook, when you shift here, yes, come here. You're still wanting to come wide. Okay? It's going to be hard to reach that. 1, 3. There you go. Boom. Now if I'm going to put, there you go. If he's going to take that much in there, let him go. Let him fall in. Shift right past him. Now when you're here, when you're looking at setups, and you're wanting to find openings, when your opponent is standing in here, there's a lot of things open here by holding on to this position that you can get to, okay? So, if it's not quite as open as you want it to be, now we pressure here. We pressure, yeah. So if I'm sitting in here, when you move, coming behind your jab, kind of step toward his front foot. This way, he will move it. He'll either pull it back, or he'll move it over, or you know what I'm saying, but he'll move it. As he moves that foot to reposition, that's when you tell which door he opens, okay? That's what, or if he doesn't open it. Him not opening the door tells you a lot too, as to how disciplined he is to what he's doing. So if he's in here and you're pressuring his front foot, and he moves the front foot this way, then you know that he's holding this position. It's a different game.
Right.
Doesn't mean the game's over. It just means you got to be more disciplined, stay on your game. The openings aren't as readily accessible.
Right.
All right? But when you're here and you pressure the front foot to the outside, right? Boom. And he moves it over, he's open.
Bam. All right.
If you pressure the foot, if you still pressure that foot to the outside, boom, and he moves over here, just shift back down, he's open. All right? You're watching where that foot is. When you pressure the foot from either side, you pressure the foot and he spins, he's open. If you pressure the foot from the inside here, which is what you'll see a lot, when you're coming around this way shooting a jab and you're coming in on this, you'll see them turning. That's it, and it's open. As that back foot comes out, you step back over and you'll see a target. Now, explaining why you see this so much is because right-handed fighters facing each other, if you start your aggressive movement here, which most right-handed fighters do toward their jab, you're coming around this way, it is natural for them to turn and come out here. Why? Because as I'm turning, and a lot of people aren't consciously aware of it, it just naturally, instinctively happens. As I'm turning here, this guy is chasing my head because my head, and he's coming out this way. That's why they're so quick to turn, because as they turn, the opponent hurries up to catch them before they get away, and they end up lining right up in front of their offense. All right? So if you're aware of that, when you start to move this way and his opponent turns, whoop, change direction. There you go. Change direction, because he is ready to fight his opponent in front of him that is going to come around and catch up. And when you go back the back way, you catch him off guard. The defense and the awareness of where you are and how he's going to adjust to that, he's going to have to come up with that on the fly. Right. You got me? So this is why you want to always be cognizant of how he maneuvers and adjusts to your pressure, and it'll show you what is open. Now, knowing that is all great. Knowing that is important. But if you're moving and you're not balanced, you're just knowing that. You're not able to you're not able to capitalize on it. Because if your momentum is carrying you this way and he spins out and you can't come back here anyway, then you just know that.
If
you can't use it.
Just count that as battle won for him.
Right. You can't use it because you have, given up the ability to move. You've given up your control. Yeah. And that's what will happen. And people rationalize that when they see it, when those things happen. Oh, he was just too quick. He was too quick on getting out. He was too slick, and he was too this and he was too that. But they never catch on to the fact that, you were actually leading with your head, and you were creating momentum and running that way. That was why you couldn't catch up to what he did here. They never even see the option of catching him coming out the back end because they're so used to moving with that momentum. Right. And that momentum goes unconsciously. People don't realize they're creating that because we've always moved that way. I know I sound like a broken record, and I keep putting it up, but we have always moved that way. So it's not something that is conscious to us. It's not something that is just consciously being thought of, as even being present. We don't realize we're doing it. With when we're moving and we swing and have to catch ourselves, we don't think about that as being something we shouldn't do.
Right.
We actually
drill it.
Yeah, we actually encourage it, and we see it as something we can't avoid. So since it's something we can't avoid, we've learned to implement it into how we train, into how we box and how we fight, how we move. We've just welcomed it in, as opposed to thinking that there's a way to eliminate that. And there is a way to eliminate it, but you just have to work on it.
We'll treat the symptoms, but not the disease.
Exactly. And in this case, we'll incorporate the symptoms. as opposed to even seeing a disease at all.
Right.
We don't see anything wrong with it at all. We'll just incorporate that into what we're doing. And you have to do it. It's unavoidable, so we're going to freaking work with it. It's just there, you know? And those are those things that, like I said, once you start to think about it and really look at it and recognize that if you concentrate on balance being paramount, balance being the ultimate freaking objective, then everything else works. And you find ways to adjust what you're doing and what you've always felt comfortable doing, and you find another way to do it. And being balanced and having the control of all of your tools brings another level of comfort that we never really thought was available to us. All right? This is the thing that I loved about it when I really started developing it, and this is one of the things that I get so much feedback from as I'm teaching it. When I see guys saying, man, I was able to throw combinations that I didn't think I would be able to get to. I saw guys move in certain ways, and I was able to score everywhere he moves, and I was never able to do that before. But to actually learn how to establish that balance and be able to make those small adjustments, so many more options are available to you that you never even really considered before.
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that people gain and they gravitate toward when they really start pushing this. Once they get past the frustration of reteaching their body how to move, because that is, I understand that's an extremely frustrating point to get past, you know, because especially once you slow down and drill and you think you have it, and then you move it up into like more of a regular speed and your instincts take over, and now you're fighting those things all over again when you thought you had them licked because the drills were so good, or the slowed down drilling and the slowed down movements were so great and you had them. And now when you're thinking and instinctively you start going back to that, you got to keep working that until you instinctively do the new program. And I think that's the biggest killer to a lot of people. I remember, you know, I talked to a guitar teacher, and he was saying that you get guys that are really interested in it, and when it's frustrating learning how to hold it and find the strings, he said, and that's not the biggest thing. People will work through that, go slow, and they'll find the strings and learn how to hold the notes and this and that. He says, it's once we start doing chords and they're switching chords on time, that's what makes people quit. to actually change forms correctly, you know, on the right timing. He said that it gets so frustrating that people put the thing down and don't come back.
Yeah.
You know, and because it doesn't come natural to you initially. It doesn't. And this movement doesn't come natural initially, you know, and then once you get it, you can do it in your sleep. You know, it's like you won't do it any other way. You know, and that's the one of the biggest rewards that I get when I've had people come in here and I watch them struggle in the beginning, and I just tell them to keep going. They have the patience to, come on, just you can do it, keep going. One of the things that I want that they see is the fact that you see me doing it. It can be done. You see me doing it, so it can be done. You know, and you just motivate them that way. And then once it clicks and they hit and they get it, it's one of the biggest rewards to see them moving in that manner and doing it, you know, basically without thinking about it. Right. And then you can actually go back and look at where they were and be like, and see the progress. And to any coach, I think that's one of the biggest rewards in it. You know, for whatever motivates them, if they're a coach at heart or a teacher at heart in any facet or any capacity, to see the improvement of those that have come to learn from you, to watch them progress from one stage to the next and move on, even past what they thought they could do, it's almost indescribable to see how much, and it motivates you to keep going. It motivates you to keep teaching. It motivates you to keep improving. You know, I mean, everyone should improve. And I know I'm rambling right now to an extent, but everyone should improve, and you should keep pushing on what you want to do. And if as a coach, the way that I'm teaching this, if I was to rewind 10 years ago and I'm going word for word the exact same way, then I've wasted 10 years. You know, doesn't mean that I'm changing anything as far as the content or changing the style or anything else, but I should always find a better way to get it across.
Right.
And that's the challenge that I'm having, and that's a challenge that I accept. And the beauty of it is by finding new people, you find new challenges. So I have to find a way to reach the guy in front of me. And if I can't say this that I said to another person and it reaches them, then my challenge is to find that reaches this person. And then when I do, I keep it. I keep that as a method, as a tool, you know, and I use it in ways that I can, parcel it out and use part of it here, part of it there. But it improves everything that I'm doing, and I'm constantly looking for those nuggets to improve so that I can reach more people and I can improve the stylings of so many different people, you know, and give somebody something they can use. The last thing I want to do is waste anybody's time. That's my number one rule.
Right.
I'm not going to waste your time. You're going to learn here. And I'm going to find a way to make sure you learn here, you know? And that's one of the things that's the most important thing for me, is I'm not going to waste your time. That's rule number one. And rule number 1A is I'm not going to allow anybody to waste mine.